White opens the game with, "What's the difference between jam and jelly?" which is quite a random opening and probably a shitty pickup line, meaning it's a book move. Black hits back with, "I feel like there are a lot of differences, but for the sake of your joke, I'll say, what?" And this is a good move. They didn't shut down White's pickup line and are giving it a chance. Little do they know, this would be punished. Taking a chance, White responds with, "I can't jelly my in your ass." And holy fuck, that is too creepy to send 3 messages into a Tinder match. If I got sent this message, I would want to Alt F4, and that's how it made Black feel too, as they resigned. Welcome, Grandmasters and Grandmistresses, to some low elo Tinder matches. White begins with, "Let's bang," right off the rip, which is definitely an inaccuracy. I don't know what the Black had on their profile, but it must have been pretty damn sexy to warrant this opening, probably a picture of me. Black hits back with, "Adrian, this is your mother. I made this fake Tinder account to make sure that you are talking to women as a gentleman, the way we raised you to be. It is clear that you are not, and I'm embarrassed to call you my son. We are gonna have a talk when I get home." This move is so fucking good. Ain't no way Black's mom did a sting operation on her own son, Chris Hansen style. If I was White, I would not be coming home after becoming victim to this brilliant move. However, in the next match, White opens the match with, "Just wanted to say you're cute," which is a book move and a nice compliment. Black hits back with, "You can say anything to me, you're gorgeous," returning the compliment and showing interest back, which is also a book move. 2 full days later, Black messages again asking, "Wanna play Pearl Harbor?" which is risky after being left unread a few days prior, making it an inaccuracy. Just take a hint. White decides to respond this time and simply says, "Explain." Good move, giving Black a second attempt at getting into her panties. Black explains with, "I'll be the Americans and you be the Japanese, and you unexpectedly the shit out of me, and I would call this a gamble for sure." White better be in a dark humor, otherwise he may have missed his chance to park his yacht into her harbor. Great move, just in case it works though. White responds with, "I almost inhaled my thanks," which has caused me to turn Black's great move into a brilliant one. No way White understood the reference and enjoyed it. This is a great move from White. I'll cry if this doesn't end in marriage, and I better be invited to the wedding. If not, I'll have to pull a Pearl Harbor on the wedding. Anyways, on to the next match. White starts us off with a wholesome smiling emoji, which is an inaccuracy. Are you a 10-year-old or something? At least try to start a conversation on an app literally made for conversation. Black responds with pointing emoji, okay emoji, and after a few spaces, puts a thumbs up emoji with a question mark, and this is immaculate riz. Being completely honest, if a boring bitch sent me an emoji as an opener, they would be blocked immediately, but Black really showed his creativity here and might get laid for it too, making it a brilliant move. White comes back with money eyes emoji, question mark, and whilst this is a very unethical approach, it is still a great move. A lot of men on Tinder are horny bastards, and way more than you think are down to pay the price for the Fair play to White if they are able to secure the bag for this match. However, Black makes his ancestors proud and replies, nervous emoji, thumbs down emoji, followed by the free emoji. And you've gotta respect it. Unlike most other degenerates like you, yes, you, he pulls the best move and wants to get in bed the legit way. Take notes, guys. I don't need any. Next match, White opens up with, "Hello beautiful, exclamation point. Did you just fart? Question mark, exclamation point, question mark. Because you just blew me away, exclamation point, peach emoji, wind emoji, heart eyes emoji. And I think I'm about to be sick. I felt less like throwing up after hearing about that than the human centipede. This shit from White is gross. I mean, if White has a fart kink, then White has a fart kink, but keep that shit to yourself and don't use it to make an outrageous move like this." Black hits back with, "Not the right way to gas a girl up, and this player is spitting straight facts. I also like the pun with the word gas relating to the fart kink. Black knew exactly what they were doing there, which is why this is another great move." White, after reading that Black clearly isn't into this, responds saying, "LOL, okay, then how about I try this one? Roses are red, so are your lips, ... You should sit on my face and wiggle those hips, peach emoji, and tongue emoji, revealing that he is in fact the biggest gooner on the platform in this ridiculous blunder. How can somebody be this down bad? The only way to stop White here is to give him the dog treatment and chop his balls off, because with this mentality, he'll be behind bars very soon, and he's definitely the type to drop the soap on purpose. Though, to be completely honest, I would too. Anyways, Black responds with, "Roses are red, violets, the color of the sky. Hate to break it to you, babe, but on your face, my hips won't lie." Absolute fucking cinema. There was not many better moves for Black to play here, making it an excellent move, and it inevitably checkmates White, which takes us to the next game. However, if you hope to ever see hips that lie, make sure to like and subscribe. White opens up with a winking emoji, and I don't know about you, but to me that translates to one thing and one thing only. I want sex, which would be an inaccuracy, as it is not the most tame way to start a chess match, and I can see why the elo here is so low. Black comes back with, "Hey blank, how are you?" which is a forced move due to White forcing Black to start all sense of conversation like a dickhead. White decides to close the emoji tab and replies saying, "LOL, you a funny girl? I love plants. You seem lighthearted. Maybe I can ask you. You seem to have Asian decent. Is it true about Asian ladies having the smallest, tightest space? Question mark, question mark." This guy couldn't have made it more obvious that he has a severe addiction to jorking it to Asians, could he? Anyway, this move is a horrible blunder, and I know that for certain. Black responds with, "It's as in vagina, question mark, which is an inaccuracy. What are you, 12 years old? Of course it is a vagina." White then comes up with a diabolical sentence and says, "Yes, damn, I should have said vagina. I was trying not to be rude. You honestly shouldn't have said anything." First of all, I can see why White opened up with an emoji now, because he cannot use his keyboard for shit. Why did bro put the full stop in isolation? The part of this message that makes it another blunder though, is when they were trying not to be rude. No matter how you fucking word it, asking if someone's is tight is rude. The move resulted in White being checkmated. Next match, White starts us off with 20 questions, question mark, you first, which is a solid book move that allows each player to learn about each other. Black plays the only logical response and replies, with 4 M's, favorite type of cuisine, easy one to start, which is a good move. A nice, simple, and non-suggestive question to keep things light and friendly. Light and friendly, I repeat, light and friendly. Let's just hope White maintains this mood, but we all know what's going to happen next. You read the title of the video. White responds with Greek, and then ever done butt stuff, and there we have it, a classic D1 gooner caught in the wild. Sometimes I wonder how the minds of these gooners work, because how do you go from liking Greek food to disgusting it? In fairness though, this move did win the game for White because it forced Black to resign out of pure fear. Moving on, White gets us going with FBI call demanding my penis. Help me hit it, and I have one word. Yikes. The fact that a little human being typed this and thought it, "This will secure the huzz," is beyond me. It might be the most shit pickup line I've ever read in my life. I've seen better riz used by preds in catching videos. Not only that, but White couldn't even spell the words correctly. It's really sad to read, making it an obvious blunder. Black somehow conjures up the energy to respond to such a shit pickup line and replies with, "Only NASA has the technology to find something that small, so I think you're in the clear." Absolute cinema. This is a trophy move, and I don't want to hear anybody trying to convince me otherwise. The creativity, the humor, mwah. This response is something special and checkmates White. We might have just found the Magnus Carlsen at text chess. Oh, wait, nope, that's me. Next game, White begins with, "So I'm writing a book right now," which is a good move. They skipped all of the what you do and bullshit and jumped right to the chase, which is exactly how a game of text chess should be. Black responds with about, which is a good move, the polite and respectful answer, as White clearly wants to talk about their book. White explains with, "Well, it's a phone book, and it's missing your number," and I love how smooth this is. Finally, we're getting a break from all these gooners and seeing a great move. I can see White climbing up the ELO leaderboard fast with Riz at this caliber. Black does the unthinkable though, and gives White 2 phone numbers instead of 1 before saying, "One of those is mine, one is my dad's. Good luck." Great move. In this situation, I would pray I got the dad's number, and I bet White is doing the exact same. Well, unfortunately not, because they've resigned the game out of fear. I guess Russian roulette isn't their idea of fun. Since you're already here, your idea of fun must be watching my videos, so don't forget to subscribe and join the Discord. Moving on, White kicks things off with, "Hey, we should smashed. I'll start." Takes off Crocs, which is a very fast way of diving into things if you ask me. You should definitely buy a girl, or a guy in my case, sometimes, dinner before trying to take them to Pound Town with your Crocs beside the bed, making this move an inaccuracy. Black innocently replies with, "Why would you take them off?" And I don't blame them for asking this question, which is why it's a good move. If someone virtually exposed their crusty toes to me, I would be quite confused too. I definitely wouldn't do anything about it. White then decides to be a respectful king and responds with, slowly puts Crocs back on, and you really have to respect his understanding of consent. You will not be seeing the man behind White at any Diddy parties. Excellent move. Black then becomes the cause for the biggest plot twist and sends, "That's right," revealing that they were into this stuff from the start. This is a brilliant move as it satisfies both players and maintains the game in the stalemate. I really don't want to know. Crocs or things might get dirty fast. What happened when they met up in real life though? Hopefully White doesn't pull up in Crocs, because then things will get suspicious. Fast. Next match, White opens up the game by saying, up for some casual question mark, and I mean it is very upfront and honest way of approaching things, but most of the time you will only get a yes to that if you've played a lot of text chess matches together in the past. Unfortunately, in this situation, White and Black have never uttered a word to each other, making it an inaccuracy. Black replies with, up for some rejection. Whilst this is a brutal reply, it was necessary and a brilliant move. White comes into the match with a raging and Black clearly sensed that and captured it and put it down early, which put White down on material. An absolute masterclass if you were to ask me. White accepts defeat and says I'm used to that, which comes with resignation. Perhaps it was a method to try and gain sympathy and make Black change their mind, but they were dead set on their decision. So we'll move on to the next match where White starts off with wanna which is a blunder and a horrific way to open the game. They call this one the Gooner's Gambit and its success rate is as low as the amount of girls you've touched in your life. So, very low. The Gooner's Gambit usually always results in Black seeing you as a creepy, perverted, and desperate sex fiend who always keeps their mouse on the left side, which was where White probably had it during this interaction. Black hits back with, not really my style, good luck though, and they could have done a lot more here. If I received a message from a stranger asking to I would rip into them, but I guess Black isn't as cool as me, although you can't blame them. Nobody is. That's why I declare this a good move. The politeness at the end was not needed. White doesn't get the hint and responds asking kiss question mark, cuddle question mark, and this guy needs to be sent back to school because he needs to learn that no means no. Actually, I take that back. If you put this guy into school, he'd be more likely to have fun there. Put him in prison instead. That move was a blunder. Black, for some reason entertaining White's antics, responds with, LOL, I don't think that there's any way to recover from that opening line, and all I can say to that is, well, true, so it is a good move. White finally closes the game with, I love you, question mark, in one last desperate attempt to recover from the Gooner's Gambit at the start, but as Black mentioned, there is no way back. Some things are just irreversible, like that one Logan Paul video. White resigns, bringing us onto the final matchup. White opens the game saying, favorite thing to eat, question mark, which is a book move. This opening starts the conversation right away and is pretty far away from dirty joke opportunities. That was a lie. We all know nothing is too far away in this context. Black replies with Mexican food and is an excellent move. That's for no other reason than completely biased, as I really like Mexican food. After I finish recording this video, I'll be having a taco, and you should too. This channel is a dictatorship, and I'm pretty proud of it. White gives the conversation a twist and responds with, I'm more of an ass myself, and I am so ashamed. This conversation had so much opportunity and could have gone amazingly, but it is on Tinder. Of course it ended up being about ass. Black responds for the people and their closing move and explains, I hate Tinder, which is a brilliant move because that is exactly what all of you are thinking after watching this video. I bet you didn't hate the actual video though, which is why you should subscribe, like, and join the Discord. Ciao.